Hey guys, and welcome to my page. Today we're going to be looking at the RocketBook and seeing whether or not this is something you should consider buying. And really, I've been using this almost every single day, and I really think there's going to be a lot of benefits for you. But first we're going to dive into the features, what is this thing, and then we're going to dive into the pros and cons of actual usage. I've had this for quite a few months, so I think I can give a pretty good opinion as to the pros and cons of this item. And then we're going to conclude by putting a verdict out as to whether this is something you should buy. One thing to note before we dive into the specifics is that the RocketBook's features are not unique. There are many different companies that have similar features, but this is the one that does it the best, and it really integrates various different features from different notebooks into one. So that's why this thing stands out more than any of the other companies that I've seen. First of all, look how thin it is. Like, it's tiny. It's very, very tiny. It only has like, I don't know, 25 pages. But that makes you wonder, isn't this gonna run out really quick, like in a week? But see, that's the thing. This book has erasable ink, so you can literally fill it out over and over and over. All you need is some water and some type of cloth to rub the pages. Once the water makes the contact with the ink, it immediately comes off and just gets absorbed right into the cloth, and then you have a fresh sheet of paper right away. I use this notebook more because of the erasability, more than even the digitizing. Now, one caveat is that you do have to use RocketBook's friction pens, and that's the only way you can actually erase with the water. Otherwise, if you use a regular pen, the page is gone. So now let's talk about the digital aspect of this book. Now, if you can see, this book it's not electronic. There's no batteries, there's no nothing. But what it does have is QR codes on the bottom of each page. Now, this QR code is used on the RocketBook app, and the app makes it really, really easy to scan and upload these files instantaneously. And all you have to do is take out your phone, open the app, open the camera, and just aim, and it will do the cropping and everything on its own and optimizing all on its own. And really all you have to do is literally just that. And you can set up each of these icons to send your files to specific folders. So let's say you're a student in school and you have 5 different classes. You can set each icon to automatically send the files to iCloud, to Dropbox, to Google Drive, and even within those apps you can look at specific folders and go through the directories to the exact place you want to upload them. The RocketBook app features the OCR, which is essentially your computer reading the text and creating a digitalized version internally. So this allows you to search through your notes even though it's handwritten, and you can search up dinosaurs or whatever you've written in the last 10 years, and it's going to show you the exact page and the exact place you mentioned that. You can also make sure that the titles are automatically generated based on your settings, or you can put hashtags on the page to create your own custom title. So if you put 2 hashtags, write a title, and then 2 hashtags, automatically as soon as you take a picture, it's going to title your document whatever's between the hashtags, and then based on whatever you mark in the icons, it's going to send the files to that specific location. This makes it really easy to just jot down a bunch of things and not worry about it. And so once you're done with digitizing, you can then go ahead and erase and not worry about ever losing those notes ever again. Now let's talk about the cons behind this item and the sinister motives behind the company. No, I'm joking. There's no sinister. Now, as you know, a lot of products are not always as amazing as they seem at face value. So we're going to start talking about the first biggest issue, which I think about the most, and that has to do with the ink. Now, as you can imagine, if there's wet ink on a glossy surface, it's going to be a mess when you write over it, or if your hand smears over it, or anything. Like, it just smears really easily. And I've noticed that although the book does a good job with drying it out, it still takes about 30 seconds to be completely safe. And sometimes if you're really like into it, it could go like 45 seconds before it dries. And that's a real pain a lot of times because I need to write on top of it, or if I'm taking notes, I need to write in the margins, and then you smear it and you go to erase one bit of it and the entire thing gets erased. It's a mess. So this feature alone makes it really hard to write because there's a lot of smudging if you're not careful. And once you smudge, you're going to try to erase it, and the erasing process is also a little which I'll talk about. But that creates a whole mess, and you end up erasing all your notes if you're OCD like me and just want it to be clean. Because of this problem, I've actually started using this as a whiteboard more than as a notebook. So instead of taking notes, I'm using this to diagram and kind of put my rough ideas on just so I can erase it really quickly. And that itself, that feature is really, really nice, and that's what I use it for. I'm actually using the smaller version of the RocketBook just for the scripting right now, and then right after the video I'm going to erase it just like a whiteboard. Another downside is the limited sources of writing. Now, this pen is pretty nice, but the actual RocketBook comes with a kind of uglier version, and it doesn't write well at all. So I typically resort to this other friction model, and it's kind of the only option I have. Now, one thing I do like about this series is that there are a bunch of color options, and that makes it nice to take some nice notes. But again, you're going to be smearing the colors, and it's going to look like vomit, and it's not good. One more downside is the erasing process. Now, if you're using the rag, you have a very broad little brush, and even if you make it really, really tiny, you're going to smear it a little bit. It's going to go the wrong direction. It's going to take a while to dry, and in that process, something's going to smear, and you're going to take it out one by one until the whole page is empty. Now, the pens do have a little thingy on the back, but it's not like recommended, which is kind of funny because it's like their own pen. But I think it's supposed to be recommended for like actual paper, but even that gets destroyed by this eraser. So just don't use this thing. It's not good. Now my final point against the RocketBook is that it's extremely hard to use as a lefty. Now I'm not a lefty, so I don't face this problem, but I know quite a few people struggle because as soon as they're writing, they start smudging over the stuff because it takes like 30 seconds. So unless you write like one word every 30 seconds, it's quite an issue. Or you can hover over it. I don't know how that works. I mean, I write with my entire arm on the paper, so I can't really do that. But if people can write a little floatishly, then I think that would help with the actual writing process, but I think that sounds really uncomfortable. Now RocketBook did try to fix this issue by putting the spiral on top, and I have no idea how that's supposed to help because that has nothing to do with the ink, but it's just some food for thought. And now for the final verdict. Do I think this item is worth it, and do I think you should buy it? So I would say that this is worth it for you guys, but not for the reason you would think. I really like to use this more as a whiteboard rather than a note-taking system, and I mentioned this because of the smudging issue, and that really does affect the versatility of this item. So I use this to kind of jot down my ideas, jot down and like plan and diagram things out, or come up with some temporary scripts like I did right here, and really just use it as a temporary means. So I don't even use the digitizing function that much, just because I'm not really putting important stuff on here, but I will have like diagrams or some notes, some quick notes, and I'm like, let me just put it into the app really quick, and then I can just erase it and forget about it. And if I ever need it, I can just go back and look at those notes. But as compared to like the iPad or one of these other books that also have erasable ink, I do think this is superior to anything other than paper. But as far as note-taking on its own, I say it's a no-go, at least for me. So if you're in class or something, you can easily just jot down whatever quick notes you need, nothing permanent, and then upload it later on, just like you're gonna upload the like and subscribe button. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you got any value out of this, then please do hit that like button. It means the world to me, and it'll let me know to continue making videos such as these. So thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.